He only recommended books, never told his own story. Students called him Wise Grandpa because he had knowledge about everything, but his real knowledge came from what he had lived through. When that young researcher saw his picture among Vietnam War documents, she froze, because that picture showed the hero who had saved 18 men's lives 52 years ago. Welcome to Human Stories. Before we begin this powerful story of silence, wisdom, and hidden heroism, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today, and if you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit that subscribe button and help us keep these stories alive. On the second floor of Westfield University Library, in the Historical Archives section, worked a man who knew everyone but never talked about himself. Robert Thompson, 67 years old, thin-framed glasses, gray hair. Kind-faced man. For 15 years he sat at the same desk answering students' questions. His desk was in the quietest corner of the library. Around him were tall shelves, old books, and document boxes. On his desk, always neatly arranged, were pencils, notepads, and whatever book he was currently reading. Never messy, never in a hurry. As if he had made peace with time, learned to control it. Students called him Mr. Thompson, but most of the time they addressed him as Wise Grandpa, because no matter what subject they asked about, he could always provide the right guidance. History, literature, science, even personal problems. Thompson always had logical advice. Mr. Thompson, I need to find sources about the Cold War period. Third shelf, left corner. Look at Morrison's Cold War Chronicles book. Start from page 247. Thank you. How do you know all this? From reading. These types of conversations happened every day. Thompson never boasted about himself, never said, I lived through it or I saw it. He just guided. But sometimes, especially when questions about the Vietnam War came up, something changed in his eyes. He would listen more carefully, give more detailed answers. Mr. Thompson, I'm looking for real stories about the hardships soldiers faced in Vietnam. Thompson would pause for a moment, then slowly ask, what kind of hardships? War stress, friendship, survival? Look at Henderson's Brothers in Arms book, and also examine Jenkins's personal diaries, very realistic. Students sometimes found his knowledge on these subjects surprising. He would give details that someone who had only read about it couldn't possess, but no one dared to ask more. Thompson's kind but distant manner discouraged personal questions. Emma Rodriguez, 28 years old, was a brilliant young doctoral student known for her sharp intellect. She was writing her thesis on the psychological effects of the Vietnam War and needed to conduct very detailed research on this topic. While doing literature review, she had discovered Westfield Library's rich archives. On her first day there, she saw Thompson in the Historical Archives section. The kind-looking elderly man was sorting through a pile of documents, taking notes. Emma approached. Hello, I'm Emma Rodriguez. I'm doing research on the Vietnam War. Could you help me? Thompson looked up, adjusted his glasses. Sure. What kind of sources are you looking for? The war's effects on soldiers' mental health, post-traumatic stress, social adaptation problems. Thompson noticed her serious academic approach. You want to do comprehensive research, I see. You've come to the right place. For the next 2 hours, Thompson showed Emma surprisingly specific sources, not just general books, but personal letters, classified reports, unpublished diaries. Emma found this knowledge surprising. Mr. Thompson, I see you're really an expert on these subjects. Do you teach at the university? No, I just work here. Then how do you know all these details? Thompson paused for a moment. Years of reading habit. Emma wasn't satisfied with this answer but didn't ask more. However, in the following days, she began to observe Thompson more closely. In the following weeks, Emma began coming to the library regularly. She wanted to benefit from Thompson's knowledge, and each time, she noticed that his knowledge about Vietnam was much deeper than an ordinary reader could possess. Mr. Thompson, what do you think about the adaptation process of veterans with PTSD? Thompson thought for a long time. To understand the adaptation process, you first need to understand what was experienced there. What's written in books only tells part of it. Only part of it? Yes, real stories are more complex. Emma noted this answer. Thompson seemed to be speaking from personal experience. Another day, while Emma was examining military files from the late 1960s, she asked Thompson, "What was the average age of soldiers serving in this period?" 19 to 20, most were very young. Thompson had answered immediately. "How old would you have been in that period?" Thompson stopped. "I was born in 1954. I was 18 in 1972. Emma quickly calculated. Thompson was exactly the age when soldiers were being sent to Vietnam. But this could have been a coincidence. Emma's curiosity began to increase. Thompson's knowledge was too specific. He gave details that couldn't be learned just from books. War tactics, soldier psychology, daily problems experienced in the field. He talked as if he had been there. One day, Emma gathered her courage and asked, "Mr. Thompson, did you ever serve in the military?" Thompson experienced a long silence. Then he said, "Why do you ask?" "Because your knowledge is so personal, as if it's been experienced. Emma, when you read some subjects very much, you feel as if you've lived them." This answer didn't satisfy Emma. That night at home, she thought about Thompson. She knew his exact birth year, 1954. He was 18 to 19 during the most intense period of the Vietnam War. If he had been drafted, he must have been sent to Vietnam. The next day, Emma asked the university's Human Resources Department if she could see Thompson's resume. But she was only given the date he started working, 2008, 15 years ago. There was no information about before that. For her thesis research, Emma had to dig into increasingly deeper archives. In the basement of the library, there were military documents with restricted access. Thompson was the only librarian with permission to enter this section. "Mr. Thompson, could I look at the military archives in the basement?" "Which period?" 1968, 1975, Vietnam operations. Thompson's face changed. "Special permission required. I can help you." In the basement, there were thousands of files in metal cabinets. Thompson navigated through them with surprising ease, as if he knew where every file was located. "How long have these files been here?" Emma asked. "Most were transferred in the early 1980s. Some are still classified." "How long have you been working in this section?" "In this section? Since the beginning." Emma opened a file. Inside were photographs, report texts, personal letters, stories of pain and heroism. Thompson's eyes moistened as he looked at these files. "Mr. Thompson, are you okay?" "Yes, these stories are very sad." But Emma noticed that he wasn't just sad. He seemed to be remembering. Emma had been working in the archives for weeks. With Thompson's help, she had examined hundreds of documents. Her thesis was beginning to take shape. But at the same time, she was also gathering more clues about Thompson's mystery. That day, while examining an operation report from 1971, she found a photograph among the documents, black and white, faded, but clear. 8 soldiers, taken at a post-war campsite, tired but living faces. One of them. Emma looked at the photograph again. Then she ran upstairs to Thompson's desk. "Mr. Thompson!" Thompson looked up. Emma was coming with the photograph in her hand, breathless. "Could you look at this photograph?" Thompson took the photograph. At that moment he froze. His face went pale. His hand trembled. Where did you find this?" "From a 1971 operation file." "Is this person in the photograph you?" There was a long silence. Thompson put the photograph on his desk, removed his glasses, rubbed his eyes. "Emma, sit down." Emma sat across from the desk with trembling hands. Thompson picked up the photograph again, looked at it for a long time. "Yes," he said quietly. "That's me." Emma's heart raced. "You were in Vietnam?" 18-month tour, 1971 to 1972. "Why did you never say anything?" Thompson took a long breath. "Because that story was finished. A new life had started here." "But you're not just a librarian helping students. You're a war veteran." "Emma, titles aren't important. What matters is what you do today." Emma looked at the photograph again. The other men in this photograph, some are alive, some aren't. What kind of missions did you do? Thompson stopped. Then he slowly began to speak. Search and rescue operations, finding missing soldiers, carrying wounded to safe zones. Very dangerous work. How many operations? 43. How many people did you save? Thompson remained silent for a long time. I don't remember the number, but it wasn't enough. Although Emma was shocked by this discovery, her researcher instincts kicked in. Mr. Thompson, thank you for talking to me about this, but may I ask you more detailed questions? Emma, this conversation will stay between us, right? Of course. But what I learn will help my thesis a lot. Getting a real veteran's perspective, okay. But remember, this is just one story, just one of many similar ones. Emma pulled out her notebook. Do you remember your first mission? Thompson closed his eyes. I remember it very clearly. I was 19 years old. I knew nothing. I had only received training. But real war, no training prepares you for it. What was your most difficult moment? March 1972. With my 6-person team, we were looking for a missing pilot. We found him after 3 days, but he was also wounded. We couldn't carry him. The enemy was very close. We had to choose between leaving him there or all of us dying. What did you do? We carried him. We walked for 18 hours, hiding from the enemy, half of us wounded, but we didn't lose any of them. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Such sacrifice. Not sacrifice, Emma. Duty. Over there, you don't leave your friends behind. That's a very simple rule. As Thompson told his story, emotions he had suppressed for years began to surface. Emma, let me tell you something. Every man who returned from that war fights another war within himself. Coming home doesn't mean escaping the war. Did you experience PTSD? That term didn't exist then. We called it home adjustment problems. But yes, it was hard, very hard. How did you cope? At first, I couldn't cope. I struggled for years. I went from job to job. My relationships broke down. I had alcohol problems. I couldn't really live until my 30s. Emma was surprised by this honesty. Thompson had never spoken so openly with anyone until today. What was the turning point? In 1984, I joined a veteran support group. There were people like me there, understanding people, and I learned that what I experienced was normal. What was abnormal was the situation. The reaction was normal. How did you decide to work at the library? Thompson smiled. Books don't judge. They're silent. They're patient. And most importantly, they give you a chance to help other people. You've been working here for 15 years. Have you ever regretted it? I mean, there are jobs where you could use yourself more. Emma, the measure of success isn't how much power you use. It's how good an impact you leave. I'm happy here. Emma was getting more and more curious. Thompson's story was very valuable for her thesis. Mr. Thompson, are you still in contact with the other men in that photograph? With 2 of them. One is a farmer in Texas, the other is a retired police officer in Florida. We meet once a year. Did they also experience post-war difficulties? Everyone experienced it differently, but none of us became the same person when we returned home. Emma shuffled through her file. This operation report is very detailed, but your name is mentioned with praise. Emma, who do you think wrote those reports? Commanders. They like to give praise. The real story is more complex. For example? For example, in that 18-hour carrying operation, I came close to fainting 3 times, but my friends carried me. That's not written in the report. It just says, successful operation. So there were moments when you were rescued too. Of course. I didn't receive heroism, Emma. I experienced luck, and I had good friends. Emma found this humility worth recording. What was the best thing that happened in your life after the war? Thompson thought. This job, this library, being able to help students like you, because here no one dies, Emma. Here people just learn. Emma's curiosity began to shift to Thompson's personal life as well. What kind of person were you before going to war? I was a normal American youth. I played on the high school football team, had a girlfriend, planned to go to university. A very ordinary life. How did you feel when you were drafted? A mixture of fear and excitement. On one hand, I was serving my country. On the other hand, I was leaving my family. I didn't really know what war meant then. How did your family react? Thompson's face darkened. My mother struggled a lot. My father tried to look proud, but he was actually worried too. My little sister was crying all the time. How was your return home? Hard. Very hard. After 18 months, I returned as the same person physically, but I was completely different mentally. My family had difficulty understanding this. Your girlfriend? She tried to seem understanding for the first 2 weeks, but I wasn't the same anymore. I became silent, withdrew into myself. We broke up after a few months. Sad. It was sad then, but now I understand her. How could a 19-year-old girl understand the trauma someone returning from war experienced? Emma was also curious about Thompson's life at the library. You've been working here for 15 years. What are your favorite moments? Students' aha moments, when they find the information they're looking for, when they bring clarity to a subject. That sparkle is worth everything. Did you ever get married? I married in 1987, Margaret. She was also a veteran's wife. She was understanding. We were happy for 15 years. She lost to cancer in 2002. Emma's face saddened. I'm so sorry. She was the woman who brought me back to life. Thanks to her, I made peace with myself. After her death, I focused on this job, like it was her legacy. Do you have children? Unfortunately, we couldn't, but the students here are like my children, like you. Emma was very moved by these words. Do you see me like your daughter? Emma, the first day you came here, I saw Margaret at the same age, the same determination, the same intelligence, the same good intentions. That's why I enjoy helping you. As Emma learned Thompson's story, she became even more attached to him. Mr. Thompson, what are you thinking of doing after I finish my thesis? What do you mean? Your story is very valuable. Maybe you're thinking of writing a memoir, giving conferences. Thompson laughed. Emma, I don't like speaking or writing. My job is to help. But your experiences are very valuable, even for other veterans. Veteran support already exists. That's not my role. What about retirement? I'm not thinking about it yet. I feel useful here. What would I do in retirement? Emma developed an idea. Maybe I could include your story in my thesis, of course by changing your name. Thompson thought. How would this help you? A real veteran's perspective would strengthen my research a lot, and maybe it would help other people too. If it will help other people, I accept. In the following months, Emma and Thompson worked together. While Emma wrote her thesis, she also included Thompson's story. This collaboration enriched both of their lives. When Emma's thesis was completed, a very powerful work had emerged. It wasn't just academic research, it also had a human story in it. Mr. Thompson, my thesis is at the defense stage. I want to tell the jury about you. How? Just your presence is enough. An example of a person who has worked here for 15 years, helping students, but actually having a great past. When Defense Day came, Thompson was also among the audience. Emma told her story, presented her research, and also mentioned Thompson. We have a valuable veteran working in our archives who provides us not just research, but also lived experience. His perspective made this study possible. The jury was very impressed. Emma successfully defended her thesis. After Emma received her doctoral degree, she made a special visit to thank Thompson. Mr. Thompson, this success is thanks to you. No, Emma, this is your research, your work. But you didn't just give me information, you gave me perspective, understanding. Thompson smiled. This was good for me too. I hadn't talked to anyone in such detail for a long time. I have a proposal for you. What is it? I'm going to work on Vietnam veteran support. Could I benefit from your experience? as a consultant? Thompson thought. How can I help? Collecting veteran stories, developing solutions for adaptation problems, guiding young researchers? Emma, I'm not in the academic world. You don't have to be. Just sharing your knowledge is enough. Thompson finally accepted. If I'll really be helpful, I'll do it. Years passed. Emma became a recognized expert in the field of veteran psychology. Thompson was still working at the library, but now he was also consulting on Emma's projects. Together, they conducted veteran interviews, developed support programs, organized conferences. Thompson's story inspired many people. One day, Emma brought Thompson a special gift. "What is this?" Thompson asked. "Open it and see." Thompson opened the package. Inside was that old photograph framed, written underneath, "Heroism is lived silently but never forgotten." Thompson's eyes filled with tears. "Emma, you didn't just give me a research topic. You taught me the meaning of life, that true heroism is not boasting, but serving silently." Thompson's story also became a legend at the library. Now students addressed him not just as Mr. Thompson, but as Veteran Thompson. But he continued to work with the same humility. Young military students especially began coming to consult with him. "Mr. Thompson, I'm also preparing for military service. Do you have any advice?" "Yes, don't lose your humanity. No matter what, don't forget to remain human first." "Is fear normal?" "Fear is wise. Those who don't fear are dangerous. You be afraid, but control your fear." These conversations were very meaningful for Thompson. Passing on his experiences to the young generation gave new meaning to his life. The university organized a special event to honor Thompson, a panel titled "Silent Heroes, Veterans Among Us." Thompson initially didn't want to participate. "I'm not a speaker, Emma." "You don't have to speak, just be there. Let people know your story." On panel day, the large conference hall was full. Emma told Thompson's story. His war experience, silent service at the library, contribution to students. At the end of the presentation, when Thompson was asked for a few words, he just stood up and said, "True heroism is doing what's right when no one is watching. I'm happy to serve you here. That's enough honor for me." The hall gave him a standing ovation. Thompson's story made waves in university circles. Local newspapers wrote about it. Veteran organizations visited him. But Thompson didn't accept any of them. "Why don't you give interviews?" Emma asked. "Because my story isn't finished. I'm still living, still working. When my story is finished, let others tell it." This approach taught Emma a lot. True greatness came with humility. Thompson is now 70 years old. He still works at the library, still helps students. But now more people know his story. And this story inspires many people. Because that's how real heroes are. They serve silently. They don't boast, don't tell stories, don't show off. They just do what's right, every day. Robert Thompson, Vietnam War veteran, search and rescue specialist who completed 43 missions, hero who saved 18 lives. But most importantly, a human being who sits at the library every day, answers students' questions, recommends books, and serves silently. He only recommended books, never told his own story. And this was one of the world's most powerful stories. Now I ask you, have you ever encountered someone like Thompson? Someone who appeared ordinary but was actually extraordinary? Share their story in the comments. Because here at Human Stories, we believe in never forgetting silent heroes. If this story touched you, like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe. Until we meet in the next story, and remember, the most powerful stories are often lived silently.